good day and good morning. Dominic, thank you very much for tuning in today. On behalf of Cigniti, this is Sairam Vedam, the Global Chief Marketing Officer. As an endeavor to consistently bring thought leadership and insights from global thought leaders and analysts, as part of our digital dialogue series, today I have Dominique Raviart, the esteemed analyst, joining us from NelsonHall. Welcome to the show and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your invite. I'm delighted to be here today.
Yeah. Before we get going, Dominic, as always, it is a pleasure for us as an assurance company, as a quality engineering company, to get those pragmatic insights, market research inputs, and the trends that you spot. And thanks for enlightening us, all of us as a community. So I wanted to extend this thanks on behalf of everyone who's in the business of assurance, not just Cigniti.
Oh yeah, and thank you again for the invite. I am delighted to be trying to respond to your demanding questions. So let's do this.
I can tell you that these aren't demanding at all, considering the depth of research you do. All right, let's get going. So Dominic, as an esteemed analyst covering the space since more than a decade, you understand the buyer expectations and service providers' capabilities really well. You've identified Cigniti as a leader in the overall market segment. Could you take about the overall, what's your take about the overall process? You can speak about that. And what does this actually truly mean?
Thank you, Sairam. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about what we did and what that means for Cigniti. So each year or so, we look at we talk to the main vendors in QA, and we look into try to evaluate their offerings for a number of topics, looking mostly at continuous testing and what we call next-gen QA. So looking at this year, we looked into a lot about AI and how AI is bringing automation QA testing, but we will also look into other things like testing of application migrating to the cloud or security testing. And of course, the main activity was also to look at continuous testing / DevOps testing. So what we do once we've defined the scope is we evaluate the offerings with 50-ish parameters. And I guess the goal of the need is really to evaluate the offerings. And from a Cigniti perspective, when we look into your offerings, we thought you had invested into the right offerings, into the the mainstream continuous testing / DevOps testing, but also you were investing quite a bit in the next-gen testing offerings. So that sort of explains why we position you in the leader, because you are investing in ahead of the curve.
We are thankful, and we're also feeling more responsible for achieving this positioning. I believe we have to work further hard as always, and we will go by the insights you provide. And some of those cues have always been helping us. And that said, Dominic, in the need charts, you've covered many emerging and next-gen technologies this year. As enterprises globally are on different stages of their digital transformation journeys, how do you see the adoption of these technologies within them? Do you see them more pronounced in some industries versus the others, or how do you see this happening?
A difficult question. I think digital is very much spread across sectors, and digital transformation has happened in retail, CPG, but also banking. So, and now even in manufacturing with digital manufacturing. So different flavors across industries. From a QA perspective, we don't see any major change and discrepancy. Having said that, the BFSI sector, so banking, financial services, insurance, spends more 40% of all QA spendings globally. So we're seeing the BFSI sector being on the verge of QA for digital transformation, largely because it's well fitted with its way of working with multi-year contracts and multi-releases per year type of activities in application services. So no different vertical adoption, but certainly BFSI has always had a different model and continues to do well in QA for digital.
Understood. So essentially, not one particular vertical that you could call out, but BFSI definitely seems to be the one, as always. So that's been very relevant. Cigniti has been featured as a leader in multiple segments. So, what key points made you decide that Cigniti should be strongly positioned as a leader across all these segments? And what are some of those core strengths of Cigniti as per you? And could you talk or comment about Cigniti's reinvention as such?
Okay, so I clearly can talk about the process. So as I said, we look into maybe 10 offerings and one after the other. Spend probably with Cigniti up to 8-9 hours on these offerings. So with that clearly zones, areas where we thought Cigniti had done well, as I said, invested ahead of the curve. Let me mention a few. Clearly, continuous testing did well. QA of applications being migrated to the cloud, certainly. AI, whether it's AI-based analytics and automation, yes, indeed, and also application security testing. So this is where the areas where, after a relatively deep and thorough analysis, we thought Cigniti was deserved to be a leader. So that I can comment.
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you. I think the fact that you emphasized the AI-led, AI-driven testing that we are doing is helping you further to sort of comment this. We sort of take it as a compliment, and it also emphasizes the fact that as a brand, our ability to look ahead, our ability to reinvent again, whenever there is a disruption, is well within our reach, and we continue to invest in there. Thank you. Going a little ahead, what are the top three areas that you would foresee where strategic investments in quality engineering are bound to happen? I mean, areas like Salesforce testing, cloud assurance, IoT assurance, these are some things that ring the bell in my mind, but we would love to hear from you.
I think you've touched on the right topics. So digital in general, the digital technologies, and within the digital, from a QA perspective, you've got different level of adoption and investment by clients. So clearly, Salesforce testing is a big one for me. Salesforce is going to be the largest enterprise application ISV this year, overpassing SAP. The QA opportunities are more limited still, but there's clearly Salesforce is an area. And also largely because it's projects and progression testing that brings a lot of challenges to the QA industry in terms of bringing automation, functional automation. So yes, absolutely, Salesforce and front office applications, cloud assurance, application migrated to the cloud. I think people are saying the industry benchmark is clients have moved 15%, 10 to 50% of their applications to the public cloud.
Right.
So the potential for further migration is immense. And again, cloud migration testing brings the topic of infrastructure testing, which is getting testing out of its comfort zone. And probably, yes, IoT and more connected devices is a new one, again, because it brings embedded software, embedded hardware into testing. So yeah, I think you've touched on the right topics within digital.
Oh, nice. I mean, that is, insightful. And I believe a connected enterprise being a reality, applications, critical applications moving to the cloud, and as well as enterprises around the Salesforce ecosystem. That's what we are also seeing with majority of the customers and businesses. And we are glad that you believe those are some of the areas from an overall digital perspective. Thank you. Well, what is your view on the emerging, or I would say the most exciting ER&D sector? I know you track that, particularly the areas like 5G assurance, IoT assurance, connected automotive, or software-powered automotive segment. How do you see that overall as a segment? And do you think, are there any other parameters that are driving growth in those areas?
Okay, so ER&D in the automotive sector. Certainly, from a high-level perspective, automotive has always been ahead of many industries. So each time we see something in automotive, it passes on to aerospace, for example. So automotive is ahead of the curve. As you know, no big secret. In automotive, we're seeing a lot of activity on autonomous mobility, electric, new mobility services, autonomous as well. So now the challenge from a QA perspective is that brings a lot of different activities. So it's not software testing anymore. It's hardware, equipment, embedded systems, 5G networks. as you related to. So we're bringing much more complexity, and clearly this is getting software testing out of its comfort zone. So that's one. Digital manufacturing is another one, which is going to IT systems, production systems, which is another set of applications. And all in the context of cars and digital and manufacturing, where you need more QA, where you need to have solid results. So as always, way beyond what we've done in software testing or even software product testing, you need much more thorough, more comprehensive QA. So I guess it's bringing us to outside of our comfort zone and also requiring us to be even more rigorous. So it's a new challenge for us.
Got it. So the point here is, while it's pretty complex, it's also very rigorous, which means that moving out of the comfort zone and believing, upskilling, new skilling, I think all that are also critically important to cater to this area. Understood, Dominic. That is very relevant of you that you have updated that. Well, coming back, Cigniti as an organization is betting big on its BlueSwan.ai, the next generation AI-powered digital assurance and quality engineering platform. You have been looking at BlueSwan AI and its platform components like Insta, the scriptless, self-healing low-code platform for test automation that we have put together, and Insight, a customer experience sentiment analyzer driven 5G enabled solution that Cigniti has brought to the market. As such, what are your perspectives on these investments and these differentiations and solutions that we are building? Any thoughts would be helpful.
Thanks, Sairam. Okay, so what can I say? I certainly can put some context about your products, Insight and Insta. So if you think about Insta, it's about bringing a lot of AI use cases to continuous testing. And so this is, we're seeing those continuous testing platforms, so to speak, now being center of aggregation points for a lot of IP.
Right.
And certainly AI and the AI use cases are going to be very important. So I think from an Insights perspective, it's going to in the right direction, going beyond functional automation, including AI and other IP. So that's fantastic. That's absolutely what clients want. From an Insight one, it's more a shift right type of approach, monitoring production and what it means for from a user experience. So again, we're seeing as much as we've seen QA moving into shift left, shift right is also the next frontier. So that's providing a more comprehensive service. Again, that's absolutely the right direction.
Right. A post-production experience assurance, a frictionless customer experience towards the production and post, towards the extreme right. I believe that is going to be critical as well. And thanks for acknowledging what the little work that we are doing there. And how do you foresee areas like SecOps or AI ops and ML ops, or more so with data lakes and things like that, the entire data ops? So together, all of them coming into the picture as areas of adjacencies that companies like Cigniti can foray into. We are looking into those areas. We're doing some work, but what do you see, and how do you see we getting in there from an adjacency perspective?
Okay, so a lot of those concepts you mentioned, they're still work in progress, but I think they fit and they link nicely to our previous discussion. So this is about production monitoring and what does it mean for QA. So yes, that's absolutely the right step. My favorite example in this space is really DevSecOps, where you've got, as part of continuous testing, you've got the SaaS and DaaS and SCA tools. Now, those tools are the beginning of the better security quality, but they bring a lot of false positives. And certainly QA firms like Cigniti can help on identifying with AI the false positives, telling the QA, the testers, the specialists what to look at. So yes, absolutely, there's a lot of potential for development in this space, because again, with DevOps, there's the boundaries between production and the development testing environments are being more blurred.
Understood. I think we have the same viewpoint. We would obviously want to come back and show you more work in that areas, but thanks for acknowledging that. We believe as such, for successful digital transformations, digital assurance becomes a bedrock. In fact, a key strategic business enabler for global companies. As such, what is your view on this both from a business perspective and also as a technology perspective?
I probably will take the question from a QA perspective. That's okay with you?
Yeah.
And if you look at digital, there are plenty of different type of activities and technologies and services. So UX, security, front office applications, and so forth. Quite an AI in data. I think from my perspective, and that's only my perspective, but I'd like to go back to the front office application topic, SaaS applications, and this, the Salesforce type of applications, again, are forcing us to move from regression testing to progression testing. And that's the challenge, is therefore to create automatically test scripts, and even more importantly, to maintain them. That's the holy grail of the industry. We're not yet there, but we're seeing now AI playing a role in this space. And if AI cracks the model of creating automatically test scripts, that's a massive revolution in our industry. So, and I think we're getting there. So that's really exciting. And I'd like to finish on this note saying, I think we're on the verge, maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, of changing the dynamics of the QA industry with automated test script creation. And that'll be fantastic. That'll be a paradigm shift, really, truly.
Excellent. I like the word, the shift in the mindset. So Dominic, as always, this has been very pragmatic and quite insightful, reflects your deep insights into the industry, and you've touched based on the areas of growth, adjacencies that we as a company can look in, and also your valuable commentary on as such the differentiators of Cigniti. Overall, on behalf of Cigniti, once again, for everyone who's tuned into this, thank you very much, Dominic, for taking your time. And Cigniti, today a globally acknowledged digital assurance leader in areas around AI and cognitive, cloud migration, UX cybersecurity, and of course also in areas around next-gen continuous testing as a global leader, and also focusing on areas in DevOps and hyperautomation as a global leader. We continue to help global companies, 70 of the global 2000 companies with around brand footprint in 23 countries with 4,000 plus people as we move forward. Our promise to our customers is quality first, helping them go digital first, and we believe digital assurance is the bedrock of digital transformation. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will work to bring in rich insights as part of our digital dialogue series. Thank you, Dominic.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Cigniti, and thank you, Sai, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you.